This is a big deal that's happening in Tennessee today, Tennessee's 7th, with Aftyn Behn. At one point, we tried to get her on the show. That we had a scheduling problem, so it didn't happen. As I was saying to Brian earlier this morning, I said, if there's anybody who watches this show or listens to this show who lives in Tennessee's 7th district and you're not voting today, you need us to remind you, you're fired. You're not, like, stop watching the show because you just, now you just sucking the life force out of us, and we don't want that. I'm assuming that everybody's going to. This is an R. Well, we should say Donald Trump won this district by 22 points in 2024. If this is even close, you got to start thinking about the calculation that Republican congresspeople are going to be making if they look at this and they think, if Donald Trump won my district by less than 22 points, am I going to be able to get reelected? How difficult is this going to be? And how much effort am I going to put in over the course of the next year when I know I'm going to end up in the minority? That's what the relevance of this is. Now, of course, there's other numbers associated with it, like it's, the Democrats pick up one more seat. It's going to tighten things. But here is Aftyn Behn drawing a contrast between her gathering in Franklin, Tennessee, and her opponent, Van Epps's, a little bit more exclusive event.
Yeah, this made by the Tennessee Holler.
What's your response to all of that?
Yeah, I mean, the barrage of negative attacks is because they don't have a plan to address the affordability crisis we are dealing with. I mean, there's no plan. And so unless you have a plan to make healthcare more affordable, you're coming after me. And the voters hear that. I mean, we have heard from voters all across the district that they're like, she's got a plan. We know what she stands for. She hasn't gone negative. All she's been talking about is how she's going to provide for Tennessee families. And more importantly, I just want to draw a contrast to this moment versus my opponent's rally, in which it was behind pearly white gates of a Williamson County mega mansion, away from the people and next to the power brokers and puppet masters. And it just shows how he's going to govern, which is, I'm one I've been someone who's been knocking doors every day, every week for the past 9 months, talking to voters, and he is behind closed doors, and that is how he'll govern. And I think Tennesseans are fed up with leadership that doesn't deliver.
I like what she's centered her campaign around: feed kids, fix roads, fund hospitals. That's been like a slogan that she's deployed. And it's quite the contrast to the guy behind the gates there, who I think has doubled what Behn has fundraised, and is beholden to the billionaires and to Donald Trump, basically.
Club for Growth is getting really heavily involved in this race.
Well, just the fact that they're having to bring this many people in and this much money in is indicative of how important this race is to them, not just in terms of like the direct first order question of whether this specific district is represented by a Democrat or a Republican or what the numbers are in the House. It is what it's going to do to Republican House members in terms of demoralizing them. Let's listen to Behn making her. Well, let's get a sense of that. This is number 5. This is Donald Trump and Mike Johnson sort of rallying. They're both sort of rallying. I mean,
I can't confirm that he was on a golf cart when he called in.
No, he might have been on the toilet, be fair.
Well, I was having my annual physical for the 5th time in 4 months.
From inside the MRI machine.
Exactly.
You can tell he really cares.
Guess
about
where I'm
this.
calling you from, Mike? Here's Mike Johnson. He's on the ground. Now, honestly, I mean, if you had said to somebody a year ago, will Mike Johnson have to travel to Tennessee to campaign in a plus 22 Donald Trump district if the Republican is out fundraising the Democrat by a 2-to-1 margin, I think most people would say, are you serious? But here we are.
Remember, he's got a majority of 3. A majority of 3. And there aren't many people can do that, but we have to win this seat. We've gotten you the largest tax cuts in history, and the new bill, the great big beautiful bill, kicks in, as you know, on January 1st. Hasn't even kicked in yet. And then you have no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. If you borrow money to buy
Can you just pause it really briefly? I just want to make one point, is that Trump's 2024 campaign director, when he did that interview with Politico in the wake of Zoran's victory and like the Democrats sweeping across the country a few weeks ago, was talking about how they need to refocus on affordability and cost of living and not just taxes. And you see how they have nothing to address that. Trump is returning to the tax cuts. That this is not addressing the cost of living. That like, okay, perhaps people will have a few $100s more because of tax cuts or a few $1,000s more if you're richer, but they're not addressing people where they are. And I think that that's a real vulnerability here.
I also, the way this sounds, I am not convinced that first of all, it sounds almost like AI.
Yeah.
But I think the way you couldn't train an AI to sort of like backtrack in the way that he does.
Still working on the weave.
Exactly. But I'm also would not be surprised if he didn't just record this and they played the recording back through the phone to make sure that he didn't go sideways during this. Good.
Security, no tax on overtime. If you borrow money to buy a car, you get a deduction that's never happened before. All these things kick in on January 1st. A lot of people don't know. They said, oh, they already kicked in. I said, no, it doesn't start until January 1st. So that was the first date. I just want to thank everybody. I love Tennessee, one of my all-time favorite places. And Tennessee just loves me because we've won by the biggest margins anybody's ever won by, so that's cool. But if can go, Matt Van Epps, he's a winner. He's going to be great. Don't let this stuff fool you. The Democrats are spending a fortune, and we don't want people that want to raise your taxes. She wants to raise your taxes on top of everything else. But she said two things above all else that bothered me. Number one, she hates Christianity. Number two, she hates country music. How the hell can you elect a person like that? So I just want to give my total support, and he's had it right from the beginning, to Matt Van Epps. He's going to be a fantastic congressman. He's going to represent you so well, and we'll keep our agenda going. And I'm going to make a call tonight about 7 or 8 o'clock. I'm doing a tele-rally for him tonight. So if anybody wants to listen, basically I'll be saying the same things I just said.
Okay, whatever. I mean, they're nervous about this. Donald Trump, he's working overtime. He's making 2 phone calls. That's quite a bit.
Basically, I'll be saying the same thing I just said. It might be the same recording.
Exactly. And I mean, also keep this in mind. There is no direct, immediate ability for him to monetize this. So he's serious about this. The fact that he would do this where there's no direct money flowing into his pockets. Here is Aftyn Behn on News Nation making her final pitch.
I got my start as a healthcare community organizer in the state of Tennessee, fighting to preserve Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. So as the next congresswoman for the 7th Congressional District, I'll ensure those subsidies remain for the ACA. 2, I'll restore funding for Medicaid, which is a lifeline for so many rural hospitals in the district. And 3, roll back tariffs, which are squeezing and bankrupting Tennessee farmers right now.
So what is your final pitch to voters? They're casting their ballots today. How would you work with or challenge Speaker Mike Johnson at the same time?
I'm someone who cannot be bought or sold by special interests. I represent the interests of the constituents of the 7th Congressional District. And as I've said on the campaign, if you are upset about the chaos of Washington and the cost of living, then I'm your candidate. And I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what political party you belong to. I welcome you with open arms. Come to our side and vote for change.
Better pitch than, Trump's closing one. She hates country music. When we're talking about
it's the 2 C's, Christianity and country music.
The fact that people are feeling the implications of like the economy in such an acute way, the way that has flipped now that Trump is back in office and the Democrats are able to make this case is important. Because, they have nothing to offer on that. Even when he talks about the tax cuts from the big ugly ass bill, that bill is deeply unpopular as well.
Yeah, I mean, you would imagine a place where he was 22 plus, there's a lot of Trump fans, and that's what they're hoping to rally. But again, if this election is close, if it's within 6 or 7 points, you're talking that Republican congressmen around the country are, and you've got to make allowance for the fact this is a special election. Democrats may be more tuned in than Republicans, and you would expect that to even out a little bit in the midterms. But making up a 15-point or 15 points of a deficit when you have half the money, there's going to be Republican congressmen. Mostly, let's be honest, mostly congressmen.
Yeah.
It's Republicans that are going to say it's just not worth it. It's exhausting to run for office. I can go out and get a corporate job and use my connections to drain money from the coffers of the government while the getting's good. And I would not be surprised if she is within 5 points that we don't hear at least a couple more resignations, if not, or I should say retirements, if not another resignation, because people are just not going to want to deal with this, losing their seat. And then even if they win, they get into the minority. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.